SCP-682 and SCP-173 are among the most dangerous SCPs in the Foundation, and given the agency's goal to terminate 682, it definitely makes sense to put them against one another. However, SCP-173 not only proved effective against the reptile, but even made 682 appear scared. But why was an anomaly that is virtually indestructible afraid of a simple concrete statue? In this video, we try to answer this question. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel with notifications on, so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos, and we will be discussing more interesting SCP-682 termination attempts in the future. As most of you already know, when SCP-173 was first introduced to 682's containment chamber, the hard-to-destroy reptile made several screeching noises and quickly pressed itself against the wall farthest from the statue, which is most definitely a natural fear response. 682 then continued to stare at SCP-173 for a few hours, until its eyes were shot out with sniper rifles. At the same time, all security cameras were turned off and all personnel looked away to ensure that the statue would be able to move. After resuming observation, SCP-682 appeared severely injured, and 173 had tissue from the reptile on its hands. But then 682 rapidly regenerated from the damage and grew several sets of eyes on various parts of its body which were covered by thick, clear armored caps, which could not be destroyed using snipers, so the statue couldn't move anymore. SCP-682 then maintained observation of 173 for more than 12 hours, before it was finally allowed to exit the containment chamber. And we see why the title of this video is such a good question. SCP-682 has fought off SCP-076, which is literally an immortal superhuman. It has been faced with SCP-096, which is also indestructible, and has been tested with dozens of very dangerous anomalies, but has always regenerated or adapted, and has never showed any signs of fear. And out of all these experiments, SCP-682 was afraid of SCP-173, a concrete statue. This certainly seems odd, and it's widely believed that this was because the statue managed to partially damage the reptile, which is why 682 perceived it as a threat and subsequently showed fear. However, we don't believe this is the case, because a few other SCPs were much more effective against the reptile, and against them, 682 didn't show any signs of fear. After all, SCP-173 injured 682, but SCP-096 damaged the reptile so much that in the end, 682 had lost more than 85% of its body mass, and during a fight with SCP-106, the reptile lost nearly 70% of its body. And upon seeing SCP-096 or 106, the reptile didn't show any signs of fear. This implies that SCP-173 is either a lot more dangerous than it appears to be, or that 682 and the statue have some sort of history between them that we don't know about that makes SCP-173 an exceptionally dangerous creature in 682's mind. In any case, we will need to find other sources if we want to learn more. To begin with, what does SCP-173 really do? It moves when it's not observed and it snaps people's necks. If you look at it, it can't do anything, so all in all, it's not really that dangerous. And rightfully so, it's been classified as Euclid rather than Keter. However, it is heavily implied throughout multiple interactions between other SCPs and 173 that the statue is a lot more dangerous than it appears. For example, 173 was tested with SCP-187, which is a female that can see the future state of whoever she is looking at alongside the said person, and for example can see when and how a D-Class is going to lose his or her life, what an SCP will do in the future, and so on. And when SCP-187 saw the statue, she began screaming hysterically without stopping for nearly 2 minutes before she finally lost consciousness. 187 had to be physically removed and maintained a state of catatonia for 48 hours, and when she finally woke up, 187 remembered nothing, but still remained in shock for several days. And just something to keep in mind, SCP-187 is used to observing people who have lost their lives, so she is quite used to seeing disturbing images. So whatever 187 saw when she was faced with 173, it must have been absolutely terrifying. And let's not forget that SCP-187 has never made a wrong prediction in the past, so this ordinary looking statue will most definitely do something terrifying in the future. So in conclusion, based on SCP-682's reaction when it first saw the statue, and given 187's shock when she saw what 173 will be doing in the future, there must be something about the statue that we don't know about that makes it much more dangerous than it appears. And to top things off, if we keep looking, we find articles that confirm that SCP-682 and 173 also have common history. You are probably all familiar with SCP-173's revised entry, a story that describes how the statue begins to multiply from the weird liquid it secretes on the floor, then breaches containment, having created thousands of copies of itself, and causes an XK-class end-of-the-world scenario. It is also stated that around 150 of the SCP-173 instances then gang up and terminate SCP-682. Of course, in our world, there is only one SCP-173 instance and the reptile is still alive, but this may have happened at some point in the past in an alternate reality. And indeed, if we keep looking, we find another article that confirms their common history. The SCP tale called Those Who Lived On showcases some events that unfolded a very long time ago in a different world. The tale showcases a few SCPs, among which are 682 and 173. It is described how SCP-682 was not the only one of its type, but was instead a member of a race of creatures that were much more powerful than the reptile is today. They're stated to have been fully grown leviathans, of which 682 is just a hatchling. But despite of this, SCP-173 is stated to have been a lot more powerful. The statue, which was previously called the Mighty Koitern, was feared by all because it had destroyed more than a tenth of the entire world. The Koitern was a very dangerous, savage dictator that had also single-handedly terminated more than 1/3 of SCP-682's countrymen. It is also stated that everyone knew that the Koitern would not terminate you as long as you met his gaze, but no one knew the opposite, that none whose gaze he met could destroy him. And of course, this perfectly fits everything we said about the statue so far. The fact that 150 SCP-173 copies have eliminated 682 before, and that a future-telling SCP was absolutely terrified when it saw the statue's future. So to summarize, the fact that SCP-682 was scared of 173 seemed odd at first, because the reptile had never been scared before, and on first glance, the statue isn't all that dangerous. But now we know the full picture. We know that SCP-682 was scared of the statue because it recognized the immortal world-ending dictator that had single-handedly eliminated nearly 1/3 of its family. And SCP-682 had every right to be scared, because it turns out that SCP-173 is much more dangerous than it appears. After all, 173 has nearly caused an apocalypse in the past, and based off of SCP-187's reaction, is more than capable of causing another one in the future. This concludes our Why Was SCP-682 Scared of 173 video. So what do you think? Is the story about the Koitern real? And did it really eliminate so many members of SCP-682's family? And is this the true reason why the reptile was so scared of the statue? Let us know in the comments below. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you enjoy this type of content, as we will be exploring more interesting SCP interactions like this one in the future.